Welcome back to another edition of Courtside with Sam Barber. I'm Sam Barber, and we have a very exciting game for you today, an ACC tilt as the 7-4 Syracuse Orange take on the 6-6 Miami Hurricanes. The Canes coming off a stunning 72-72 victory over the previously 16th ranked Louisville Cardinals. Well, the Syracuse Orange saw 64 points put up on them in the second half of their 96-76 loss to the Pittsburgh Panthers, a loss that saw the Orange drop to 1-3 in the ACC and being swept by their long-standing rival Pittsburgh. So what does this all mean for Syracuse and Miami? Miami is 2-5 right now in ACC play. Syracuse, as we just mentioned, is 1-3 in conference play. So both teams are in need of a victory. Miami not so much in the NCAA tournament conversation as Syracuse is. And if you're an Orange fan like myself, you are going to need a resume-boosting victory, as the Orange have yet to receive a top 25 victory this season. Their best win coming against the likes of Northeastern and Bryant, a mid-major program that is really showing out. So the Orange really have not shown a lot of growth as a team, and their resume-wise, they have one of the weakest resumes within the Power 5 ranks. So this is really a must-win game for the Orange, as this is going to be a real potentially season-turning and tide-turning game, if you will, for Jim Boeheim's club. And recently for Miami, we just mentioned their 78-72 victory over the Louisville Cardinals. That is a tremendous victory over a very talented team from Louisville. And Jim Larrañaga, he is in his 10th season in Coral Gables, and he is 196 and 119 overall with Miami, and we know that he has quite the full stat sheet in terms of postseason success, as he led the infamous Final Four run in 2006 with the George Mason Patriots, and also two Sweet 16 runs with the Hurricanes. And in terms of overall, he is 666 and 453 during his long-standing tenure as a head coach that has seen him work from the Division II ranks to the Division I ranks and at the Power 5 level. And in this matchup, we'll really be looking for the two, I guess you could say, underwhelming teams, as the Orange were picked 6th in the preseason ACC poll. The Hurricanes were picked 7th. Now Miami and Syracuse, for that matter, are now bottom feeders in the ACC, as this has been one hectic and unprecedented season, to say the least, for many reasons as well. COVID-19, of course, is being the number one issue for college basketball at every single division, and as well as the schedule changes coming from COVID-19. Now, looking at who are going to be the top players for each squad, we do have Quincy Guerrier. He has been the offensive go-getter for Syracuse this season. He is averaging 16.5 points per game. He's truly one of the most prolific scorers and most well-rounded players that we have seen in this game, in a Syracuse uniform in quite some time. And also Alan Griffin, the transfer from Illinois, he's getting it done on all cylinders of the floor as well. Guerrier and Griffin being two rebounding machines, as they rank both in the top 10 in the ACC in both scoring and rebounds as well. And the coach's son, Buddy Boeheim, he has seen his fair share of struggles during his junior campaign. However, it is with no concern of all for Syracuse fans, as he did have a pretty decent and solid performance against Pitt last weekend, putting up 12 points. Marek Dolezaj, the senior from Bratislava, Slovakia, he's matured. His maturity level is next to none, and how much it's risen is going to be is going to be really a storyline for the 2020-21 Syracuse Orange. And this is going to be, he's going to be relied on. He is looked at as the big man for this team now that Barama Sidibe is out indefinitely due to the injury that he suffered in the season opener against Bryant. He has not played since that game, since that November 25th game against the Bulldogs. So Merrick Dolezaj really having to take on the presence of a big man and sort of work that center position. Also, we have Joe Girard III, Mr. New York basketball, as he was called in high school, out of Glens Falls High School. He's in his sophomore campaign, and he has somewhat struggled from the 3-point line as well, and also the floor, as we are underway in the Carrier Dome, as Quincy Guerrier is controlling the tip for Syracuse, but Miami will have the opening possession as the Hurricanes try and get it to go on the offensive end. And your starting five for the Hurricanes: Anthony Walker, Isaiah Wong, Nasir Brooks, Elijah Oniani, and Harold Barney, as the Canes get a easy bucket to go. And the starting five for Syracuse: Joe Girard III, Buddy Boeheim, Alan Griffin, Quincy Guerrier, and Merrick Dolezaj, as Boeheim being guarded heavily. He gives it inside to Guerrier, back into the hands of Guerrier. Guerrier thought about the three. He'll take it inside, looking for someone, and the hook pass. That won't fall, and the rebound is pulled down by Olani. And Elijah Olani, he's a senior from Newark, New Jersey, and averaging 9.9 points per game, so almost a double-figure scorer, as we also are highlighting the works of Isaiah Wong. He is the sophomore guard from Piscataway, New Jersey. He can get it done on all ends of the floor, as Walker's inside with the little floating kiss, and it's an early 4-0 lead for the Hurricanes. They're feeling it early on the offensive end. And Joe Girard, he's passing it up into Guerrier. Guerrier going inside. Guerrier through heavy traffic, and that's the first bucket for Syracuse, as Quincy Guerrier gets his name on the scorecard. And a player to look out for, we just mentioned Isaiah Wong. He's really had to take on the roles now that Chris likes. He hasn't played a game since December 4th. Stuffed at the rim is Walker, and it is going the other way, as they will call an offensive foul on Miami. And that will go against number 1, Anthony Walker. And he is a sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, 6'9", 6.7 points per game during the 2020-21 campaign. So Miami with the early 4-2 lead. And back to Wong. He has had to take on a little bit of a increased role. This is an injured-prone team. Wardenberger, he's out for the season. He is yet to play. Miller, he's only played 23 minutes. And then Chris Likes is the player that is the biggest storyline, as a missed air ball 3 by the Hurricanes. Joe Girard with the pass to Boeheim. Dolezaj getting a little bit knocked up there. And 14 on the shot clock, as Griffin thought about the 3. They got to do something. Late in the shot clock, 5. And Alan Griffin from the top of the key, and that won't fall, as that's an air ball, and possession going back to the Hurricanes. And looking at the stats, Wong, he's 5th in the ACC in scoring at 17.6 points per game, across nearly a 47% 3-point percent shooter. And in terms of 3-point shooting, the Canes are 28.1%, and that's last in the ACC. The hook pass, that won't fall, but the two-handed slam will, and that is Elijah Olani feeling it, and he has the two-handed flush. Boeheim with the feed to Griffin. No, back-to-back air balls from Alan Griffin, and an area of concern as the Illinois transfer. He put up 28 points against Pittsburgh in the 20-point loss to the Panthers, but back-to-back air balls for Syracuse. Miami's offense will reset as Elijah Olaniyi has the ball inside, gives it off to Walker at the top of the key. That won't fall. Griffin tears down the rebound into the hands of Girard, and a miscommunicated pass by Girard gives it into the hands of Wong. And here comes the Canes, giving it off to Harold Beverly, the sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, but it's inside, and a foul against Syracuse, as it is Anthony Walker drawing the foul. He'll head to the charity stripe with 16:03 to play in the first half, as it is the foul going to go against Marek Dolezaj, his first of the game, as Dolezaj is one of the players for Syracuse that does rack up the fouls for Jim Boeheim's club, as Walker hits the first to push the lead to 5, as he will have a second free throw coming in, as that hits the front end, the front iron, and here comes the Orange. The Orange trying to get something to go offensively, as their last 2 trips have been air balls by Alan Griffin. Boeheim with the ball now. Dolezaj with the block out. Boeheim for 3. That won't fall. Off the back iron, and it is the Canes with the rebound. And here comes Miami as Harold Beverly dribbles it up court. He's at the top of the key. Now in the hands of Olaniyi. And it's almost stolen away as Boeheim hits the deck. Miami has numbers from the elbow. It is Anthony Walker. He is feeling it in the early goings. The Canes up 9-2 on the home team. Girard gives it off to Griffin. Griffin dishes it to Boeheim. Boeheim inside to Dolezaj. Guerrier trying to get open, but it's Boeheim driving the lane. Boeheim off the glass. That won't fall. And the rebound now into the hands of Walker, Mr. Do-It-All. And here comes Jim Larinaga's club. 14:50 remaining in the first half. Griffin trying to poke the pass away from Olaniyi. Olaniyi thought about the 3, but he'll take it inside, trying to give it off to Isaiah Wong, but it's rather inside to Miami, and a shot clock violation will go against Miami, but right now it is all the visiting team in the Carrier Dome as the Orange find themselves in a 9-2 deficit. Anthony Walker is feeling it from all cylinders on the floor. The Hurricanes lead 9-2 in the early portions of the first half. And going back to really the stats of Miami, Wong 17.6 points per game. He's the 5th best scorer in the ACC. And you also have Matt Cross, the freshman from Beverly, Massachusetts. He is shooting nearly 47% from downtown, as that's good for 6th in the conference. And, well, those 2 statistics may be reputable statistics. It is, in terms of a team, they're not doing so hot, as Miami is averaging 68 points per game. That's 14th in the ACC. They're only better than the Clemson Tigers. In terms of rebounding, that is where they make up for it, as they average 38.3 rebounds per game. That's 4th in the ACC. And in terms of field goal percentage, 43.6%, which is 11th. And they're also 11th in terms of free throws as well at 68.5%. And in terms of three-point shooting, we already mentioned that this is not a good offensive team, and that can definitely be said in terms of three-point shooting. The Hurricanes are at 28.1% from downtown. That's last in the ACC. So if they get too heavily relied on the three ball, then it is going to be a long night for the Canes. But they're really capitalizing, and this is showing, even though they're 2-5 in the ACC, and they've had many tough games and many close games, as this could easily be an 8-4 or 9-3 team right now. Just too many close calls for the Hurricanes and Jim Larrañaga. And if this shows the maturity of this team, that they know that they're not a good three-point shooting team, so they take it inside. They drive the lane. They hit a shot on the weak elbow, and draw the fouls and get to the free throw line. There are so many different ways to score the basketball for this Miami team, and Jim Larrañaga is really honing in on that. And in terms of Syracuse, we have Quincy Guerrier, Buddy Boeheim, Joe Girard III, Alan Griffin, Marek Dolezaj, Kadari Richmond, the touted freshman from Brooklyn, Woody Newton, also from District Heights, Maryland. Those are a duo of epic proportion for freshmen, and also Robert Braswell. We know the incredible game he had in the first meeting with Pittsburgh. But we are back in the Carrier Dome as the Orange find themselves in an early 9-2 deficit, as offense has really not been a friend of the Orange in the early goings, as Guerrier trying to dribble in. Girard for three. That won't fall. Walker with the rebound. And the Orange, usually known as an offensively potent team, as they are second in the ACC in scoring, not really getting it to go as we approach 6 minutes gone in this first half. As Beverly is calling for it, but it'll be Onini and Walker, a push off, and that will go against Syracuse. Second team foul on the Orange, as it is. Looks like it's going to be called on Marek Dolezaj, and if that's the case, that's his second foul, as the Canes will get a fresh 20. We're seeing Jesse Edwards, the sophomore from the Netherlands, coming in. He's seeing some more time, but Dolezaj with the quick two early fouls. The three ball won't fall, and it's the big man Edwards pulling it down for the refreshing rebound. How will Syracuse respond? Griffin for three. That won't fall, as it's Beverly with the rebound, and that is three missed opportunities for Syracuse. And the down the court pass as Anthony Walker gets it to go on the inside of the rim, and the Canes up by 9. Boeheim going inside, being guarded by Wong, trying to elevate. He does, but that won't fall. Edwards blocked out by Olanini. And it's all Miami in the early going. Syracuse just 1 of 10 from the floor, and that will go against Anthony Walker, as that will be a second team foul on the Canes. And we just saw Kadari Richmond, the freshman from Brooklyn, New York, coming in to the game, seeing his first few minutes of the ball game, as Coach Jim Boeheim pulling out all the stops for the Orange to try and get back into this game. Girard, the mismatch, and he uses the glass for the kiss. Girard finally gets a much-needed basket for the Orange. 11-4, and Kadari Richmond splitting up the offense. He's got numbers, and he'll go coast to coast. Kadari Richmond, the little Euro step for the easy lay-in, and back-to-back points for Syracuse. And another turnover, as Richmond is forcing plenty of turnovers. The feed to Girard. Girard trying to go inside, being guarded by Olanini. He finds an opening. Girard, back-to-back baskets, and it's a quick 6-0 spurt by Syracuse to pull within 11-8. Nearly 8 minutes gone in this first half. Here comes Miami. Wong dribbling it up as we are seeing Cameron McGusty, a player that has seen limited minutes, hasn't played since January 2nd against Clemson. Wong for three. That won't fall. That will hit the front iron as Guerrier pulls down the rebound. Richmond dribbling it up court. Little reversal. He kicks it out to Griffin. Griffin for three. Book it. Alan Griffin ties this up, and it is a 9-0 run by Syracuse as Griffin finally connects from downtown. A 9-0 run for Syracuse in the last 2:10. Wong trying to get a much-needed basket, but it's McGusty, but that won't fall. The big man, Jesse Edwards, using the Dutch defense as he pulls it in, and Gerard, that won't connect as Edwards can't get the offensive rebound. Wong bobbling the pass. And some sloppy ball handles, and it is possession arrow will favor the Orange. 10:57 in the first half. Syracuse has climbed their way back into this, a 9-0 run over the past 2.5 minutes as Alan Griffin, Kadari Richmond, and Joe Girard III have been cashing in on the offensive end. We're all tied up in the Salt City. And going back to Miami, we know that Cameron McGusty has not played since the game against Clemson. And that's a storyline if you're a fan of the squad from Coral Gables. And it should be refreshing to see McGusty back in to the ball game. He is a senior from Katy, Texas, 6'5", so he has the size to really be a bully on the glass, averaging 10.2 points per game, 46% from the floor for the senior, but his last game was January 2nd against Clemson. So that was 17 days ago, and we're seeing we could potentially see some rustiness if you are McGusty, but no Chris Likes as Likes hasn't played a game since we mentioned December 4th against Stetson. He went out with an ankle injury and has yet to return to the lineup for Jim Laranaga's team. And that is a real hole in your offensive game plan. Really, he averaged before the injury roughly a little bit north of 15 points per game, and that's a big storyline, and a big hole to fill, which we've seen the likes of Errol Timberlake, the freshman from Washington D.C., and Elijah Olanini, the senior from Newark, and also Harlan Beverly. He's stepped up as well. Matt Cross, the freshman, Nasir Brooks as well, the senior from Philadelphia, and also Anthony Walker, who has been the go-getter for Miami in the early goings of this ball game. But though that also speaks to the maturity level of this team, that you are having these underclassmen being able to step up when one of their best players, and one of the best players probably in Miami history, is out due to injury. Now, versus Louisville, what did the Hurricanes do right in their 6-78-72 victory over the Cards? Well, Wong had 30 points on 12 of 20 shooting. So if Wong can get hot, then it is going to be a long night for Syracuse. Right now, the Orange defense in that 2-3 zone, a famous 2-3 zone, and is real signature of Jim Boeheim's coaching style, is keeping the sophomore at bay. And see, there were 6 players with 2 fouls or less. So this wasn't a foul-induced and fouling-troubled team on Saturday against Louisville. So they really shared the fouls, if you will. And also Nasir Brooks had 11 rebounds, so he was winning the battle on the glass. And as we return to the University Hill, as Syracuse is tying it up 11 all. They started 1 for 10 for 2 points, and now they're 4 for 4 for 9 points, as we are back in action from the Carrier Dome. As Kadari Richmond will dribble up court, Isaiah Wong doing the garden. Guerrier going inside. Guerrier trying to find something. Jesse Edwards has his pocket picked. And as the Canes take it the other way. And getting a first glimpse at Matt Cross, the freshman from Beverly, averaging 8.1 points per game. 2 16-point games, and he really had that when it mattered the most against ranked opponents Louisville and Virginia Tech. But inside, as it is Beverly trying to call for it, but Wong late in the shot clock, as there is a foul on the play as Wong draws the foul. But late in the shot clock, as that will go, I believe, against Joe Girard. That will be his first, team's third, as Wong will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair to try and get his team back in front. So 2 shots for Isaiah Wong as he buries the first. And Jim Larinaga, he is in his 10th season in Coral Gables, as the second one rattles out. Edwards with the rebound, just falling in to the sophomore's hands, but Richmond will give it to Guerrier. Guerrier being guarded heavily by Wong. Now Girard. Griffin calling for it, but Girard will keep it. Girard going inside. He kicks it out to Griffin. Griffin trying to find someone. Girard, 6 on the shot clock. He's got to do something. Girard for 3. Late in the shot clock. Talk about concentration as Joe Girard III buries the 3 under pressure by the Miami defenders, and Syracuse back with up by 2. The Canes going inside. Edwards trying to fight for it, but that a quick basket, a nice backdoor cut by Miami as the Canes get it to go. Guerrier being guarded by Cross. Now Griffin for 3, a quick release. That won't fall. Not really a smart play. Edwards called for the behind the back. And that will be the first on Jesse Edwards. 4th team foul on Syracuse. 9:08 to play in the first half. We're seeing the coach's son, Buddy Boeheim, come back in. He'll relieve Alan Griffin. Griffin getting a much-needed breather. And here comes Miami, as it is 14-14. As Jesse Edwards, he's averaged 3.5 minutes per game this season. So seeing his numbers, minutes go up tremendously as we see Dolezaj getting ready to check in again. And it's stolen away. Here comes the Orange. Kadari Richmond being credited with the steal. He'll take it all the way. Kadari Richmond, and he draws the foul. That'll be the 3rd team foul on Miami, and I believe that will go against Matt Cross, the freshman. Either Matt Cross or Earl Timberlake. We're getting a first look at the freshman from Washington, D.C. 6'6", 10.2 points per game. But here's Richmond at the charity stripe. That won't fall. As Dolezaj comes in, Guerrier taking a seat. Now Dolezaj has 2 fouls early on, and we're 8:42 in left in the first half, as we see also Isaiah Wong being going to the bench for the Canes, as Richmond splits the 2 free throws. Orange up 15-14. Approaching 8.5 minutes to play in the first half, as Cross is dribbling it up at the top of the key. He gives it off to his teammate, but that won't fall. Almost a second chance point by the Canes, but Girard comes up with it. He dishes it off to Buddy Boeheim. Buddy Boeheim, the cross-court pass, but Richmond can't get it to foul, and Dolezaj, as I believe Dolezaj draws the foul. Yes, Merrick Dolezaj drawing the foul on Miami, and the Canes 0 for 7 from downtown. Syracuse not much better at 2 for 8. So late in the shot clock, but that will cash it in, as late in the shot clock, it's Syracuse getting the basket, 17-14. And the thing I like about Syracuse is they're really well-rounded. You have it's once someone is hot, so let's say Griffin or Guerrier are not having the best of games, as we see Timberlake trying to call for it, but Beverly now to cross for three. That won't fall. The 3 points shots continue to be a struggle for Miami. Girard, the quick release three. That will fall. Book it. Joe Girard. And that's his second three of the game. He's feeling it after only having 2 points versus Pittsburgh over the weekend. And if you're Syracuse, a exciting and I guess refreshing scene to say is that you can have multiple players in double figures. So if your big scorers like Griffin and Gary are having a bad game, you can really rely on their scores as Edwards steals it away. And Girard thought about the three. He'll take it inside, almost being called for the travel. But Richmond will take it into Dolezaj. Dolezaj bump, no call. And it is thrown away by Miami as that is Harlan Beverly with the turnover. And the Orange up 20-14, 6:41 left in the first half from the Carrier Dome as we see Jesse Edwards getting his first points of the game with a two-handed flush. But then on the other end, Girard cashing it in from downtown. The Orange up by 6. And with Syracuse versus Pittsburgh, Griffin had a career-high 28 points. So that was really, if you're going to look at, yes, a 20-point loss is nothing to sort of hold your head up high about. However, if you're going to look at a highlight from Saturday's 96-76 loss to the Panthers and Jeff Capel's team, it has to be Alan Griffin. He had 28 points. It's a career high. Whenever you were scoring a career high, that's something to smile about. However, when we look at the other two major stats from the game, we see that the Orange, they are really inconsistent in terms of 3-point shooting. We know that they've had incredible games in terms of 3-point shooting against Ryder, against Bryant, especially against Boston College. They tied their program record in terms of 3-point shooting. However, Saturday was not one of those games. They were held for 3 for 22 shooting, and that's really just because of Justin Champagne. He knows how to do a lot of box out defense, and that really limited opportunities for Syracuse in terms of the 3-point shot. And also another reason why a 5-point lead turned into a 20-point deficit was because they allowed 64 points to be scored on them in the second half. They were outscored 64-39, and you're not going to win many games if you're having 64 points put up on you in the second half. That's really a no-brainer. But let's look at the keys to victory for both teams. Keys to victory for Syracuse is limit Isaiah Wong. He's really a go-to scorer, and once he gets hot, he stays hot. And he's averaging, we said, nearly 18 points per game. So once that becomes the focal point for Miami's offense, look out. And beforehand, before the news of Chris Likes came, his injury and his unavailability in tonight's game came to the surface. It was limit Chris Likes from getting hot, as he was a 45% 3-point shooter. But now look out for Anthony Walker. Walker has really been doing it all for the Canes in the early goings. And finally, for Syracuse, don't have 64 points scored on you in the second half, and then you're going to be A-okay in terms of walking out of your home arena with a victory. As Syracuse will take it up as off the after TV turnover, but it's been an 18-3 run for Syracuse in the last 7 minutes. Girard thought about the three. He'll give it off to Boeheim. 8 on the shot clock. Boeheim's got to do something. He gives it into Edwards. Edwards using his body and size as the Canes were looking for a foul, but Edwards with 4 points, as it is very uncommon and unorthodox to see the big man have multiple baskets in a game. The flush and also the lay-in as a 20-3 run now for Syracuse. Late in the shot clock for Miami as it is Beverly having his shot blocked. Another empty possession for Jim Larinaga's team. Gerard with a quick three, and that will go. Three 3-pointers by Joe Girard III. The sophomore from Glens Falls is feeling it as the Orange are up by 11, 25-14. Will you look at that? Joe Girard says 2 points doesn't matter, but Syracuse call for the blocking foul, and that will go, I believe, against Dolezaj. And if that is a foul against Dolezaj, that's his third. But Girard from the Carrier logo, he is feeling it. And Girard, 13 points, 3 for 4 from downtown, as it is Walker nailing the 3-point shots. Guerrier coming in for the Orange. Dolezaj having just a frustrating game, as we also see Isaiah Wong coming in as well. But it's Walker nailing both free throws to make this a 9-point game. And if you're Dolezaj, you can't hang your head down low. You have those games. Even the best have those games of getting into foul trouble. As Richmond, the risky pass from Boeheim, but they're saying he stepped out of bounds, and it will go back to Miami. So the Canes getting a little bit of a break in terms of limiting the offensive production by Syracuse, which has been clicking on both cylinders. But Richmond stepping out of bounds, and that'll be a turnover. And actually, they're going to go to the clock to see whether or not that is a turnover. And that is an official review. The ref's looking at it. And Richmond, it appears, at least to me, that Richmond did step out of bounds. No, he did not have possession of the ball. It appears from that camera angle, as he dished it out to Quincy Guerrier, as possession is going to be the real showing of what they're looking for within this review. As 4:58 left in the first half, Syracuse 25, Miami 14. As Jesse Edwards, 9 minutes, 4 points, and 4 rebounds. So he's having the sophomore from the Netherlands having quite the game. Definitely one of his best games in recent memory for Jim Boeheim and the Orange. So that's some promising stuff to see, especially since Barama Sidibe is out with the injury. As we are coming back to action from the Carrier Dome, as it will stay Miami basketball. And it will be Wong controlling the basketball, as they corrected the shot. They corrected the scoring, rather. It's 25-16. Wong has been held relatively quiet. And that will as it appears there's another official review. So, as it looks like the shot clock and game clock having a little bit of trouble in terms of getting each on the same page. But right now, at least on the clock, it says 4:40 left in the game and 30 on the shot clock. And as play has paused for the moment in terms of play action. But right now, 25-16 Syracuse. They're on a 23-5 run right now. Another official review, as official reviews have become quite popular for the refs today. As we see the players coming back out onto the court. But they will reset the clock to 4:58. We're adding 18 seconds out of the game clock and having 12 on the shot clock. So the clock confusion back in working order, as Miami will have the basketball. McGusty will have inbounding duties once we return to action. Ted Valentine, Jeffrey Anderson, and Jeb Hartness, the officiating crew for this game from Central New York. And it's still shocking to me. We know that there's in most cases no fans in attendance for college basketball games or even professional sports and any sport for that matter. And it's interesting to see a game like SU Miami that's obviously not a high ticket game. However, it's weird to see a empty Carrier Dome as Abadoye gives it off to Wong. Wong for three, and the three-point shooting woes continue for the Hurricanes as they have yet to hit a three-point shot. Richmond being guarded by Abadoye. Gerard gives it off to Boeheim. Boeheim thought about the three, but he'll go inside. Boeheim rattles it home as he gets the elevating shot to fall. 27-16 Syracuse with 4:27 left in the first half, as Miami will take a timeout as they find themselves in an 11-point deficit with 4:27 remaining from the Carrier Dome. As we will look at keys to victory for Miami. Well, the first key to victory is obviously to erase this 11-point deficit. That's a clear that's a clear one. However, the three keys to victory for the Hurricanes is keep Wong hot. He's going to have to get hot, and he is going to have to start being more aggressive, not only inside, but also being willing to take those uneasy shots from downtown, and also reduce second chance points that Syracuse is getting. They're seeing a lot of rebounding by the likes of Griffin and Jesse Edwards, especially Edwards, 4 rebounds in this ball game tonight early, and also don't let the perimeter shooters get hot. We know that Guerrier, we know that Griffin can shoot it from downtown. We know we know both of those players that can get hot from downtown. We know Gerard is feeling it from the 3-point range, as he is 3 for 4 from downtown. However, it's imperative to say that you'll find yourself in a slippery slope and a slippery slope that you just cannot get out of if you are Miami and you're allowing Boeheim, Girard, Guerrier, Griffin to feel it from downtown. That's just, it's plain and simple. You're not going to win the game if you're allowing multiple offensive outlets to bully you on the court. And in terms of fun facts to pass along on both sides, Syracuse won their 2000th game in program history against Miami on January 24th, 2019. So right before the ending of the 2019 season, the Orange earned their 2000th victory. And in terms of Miami, they won their first top 25 game last Saturday. Their win against number 16 Louisville was their first win against a top 25 opponent since February 27th, 2018 against then number 9 North Carolina. And that the win against the Tar Heels, a 91-89 victory, they went on a tremendous drought, almost a 3-year drought by the Canes in terms of getting a top 25 victory. But we mentioned the slow start, 1 for 10 starting, and then now they are feeling it feeling it on all cylinders and all ends of the floor as they are up 27-16 as we return to the Carrier Dome, as it is the feed and the backdoor cuts, as it is Nyseer Brooks giving a two-handed slam for the Canes to pull this back below 10. Boeheim gives it off to Girard. Girard finds Boeheim with the risky pass. Boeheim trying to do something inside, but he can't find anything. Girard, 8 on the shot clock. He'll give it off to Guerrier. Guerrier for 3. That is off the front iron. Here come the Canes. Isaiah Wong controlling the offense. He's been held to a underwhelming clip tonight as Guerrier can't win the battle on the glass. But Adebayo saves it. Now back into the hands of Adebayo, and it's an offensive foul. Guerrier taking the charge by number 4 in black. As we're seeing Earl Timberlake also coming back in as Cameron McGusty gets a breather. So Guerrier inbounding it to Kadari Richmond. The Canes 8 turnovers to the Orange's 5 as we approach 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Richmond driving the lane. Not enough energy, but Richmond having it saved. Guerrier using his physicality to dunk all over the Miami defenders as he flushes it in for the two-handed slam. And a emphatic dunk by Guerrier as it's kicked by the Orange to give the Canes a fresh 20. Kicked by Kadari Richmond, as a matter of fact. So 2:46 remaining in the first half. Syracuse up 29-18. As it'll go inside. Timberlake gives it off. But they're called for a travel and another costly turnover by Miami. As you can see the frustration on Isaiah Wong's face. The usually potent offensive machine being kept at bay tonight. Richmond controlling the point. Edwards with the block out. Richmond will take it inside, but a risky pass to Guerrier. Guerrier trying to draw the foul, but he doesn't, but he gets the lay-in off the glass, and that'll do as Guerrier gets another basket. As both teams having 10 points in the paint. We see Timberlake giving it off to Wong. As we approach 2 minutes to play, Walker back in the game for the Hurricanes. Timberlake, a skyrocketing pass. Guerrier can't get it to fall, but it's Adebayo feeling it, and he gets his first basket of the game. As an almost turnover by Miami. Gerard, the cut, as he draws the foul, and he will go to the charity stripe with 1:45 to play as he draws the foul on Miami, the 6th-team foul on the visiting squad. So 2 shots for Syracuse's Joe Girard. The sophomore from Glens Falls scored over 4,000 points in his high school career at Glens Falls, which is just outside the Albany area, averaging 10.2 points per game for Syracuse this season. Now he has 15 as he hits both shots, as he's red hot. Now, and 15 points, and we still have about 21 and a half minutes left of basketball to play as the Canes fobble the pass. That was Timberlake, but he gets it to Walker. Back in the hands of Timberlake. Timberlake will elevate, and he'll score. So an offensive rhythm starting to formulate for Miami. But they still find themselves in an 11-point deficit. Richmond passes it into Guerrier. Guerrier trying to find someone. He'll find Richmond. Richmond will take it inside, and it's blocked by Adebayo. Here comes Miami. Miami had numbers at 1 point, and off the fingertips of Kadari Richmond, they're saying, with 62 ticks left on the game clock. So it'll be Timberlake with the inbounding duties. He'll inbound to Wong. So we're seeing Alan Griffin coming in as well, replacing Kadari Richmond for the last minute of the half. Kadari Richmond getting a little bit of a impromptu pep talk by the legendary Hall of Famer, as Timberlake being double guarded. But he finds Wong. Now in the hands of Walker. 50 seconds to play. Wong back into Walker, but here's Timberlake. Timberlake has it blocked, and here come the Orange. About a 13-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. Boeheim will let a 3, and he hits it. Another 3 by Syracuse. First 3-point field goals in 3 halves, as the Orange extend their lead to 14, and the Canes can hold for the last shots, as there's about a 2-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. 11 on the shot clock. Timberlake trying to find someone. He has it poked away. And a silly foul by Boeheim, and his dad not happy, as Buddy gets the foul that will put Miami in the bonus, but not at the free throw line. Wong, he'll heave one up for 3. That won't fall, but the second chance points is blocked. And that won't do it. No good for the Hurricanes, as Syracuse, who started 1 for 10 from the floor, has now stretched it out to a 36-22 halftime lead at home in a must-win game for Syracuse, as the Orange have gotten it done not only inside but also on the outside. And the perimeter, as Girard has drilled 4 3-pointers. Boeheim also having 3 3-pointers, as the Orange are feeling it, as this is halftime on courtside with Sam Barber, as we just mentioned, Syracuse with a 36-22 halftime lead against the visiting Miami Hurricanes. I'm Sam Barber, and welcome to halftime, as we are approaching the second half for this ball game. And if you're a Syracuse fan, what's not to love, as the Orange are on track for 72 points right now in this ball game. But let's look, before we look at our game, before we look at the top 25 scores and the ACC scores, let's look at our game, as the Orange are trying to build on halftime leads. Halftime leads have been not really something that they have been able to hold on to. The last time they had the 14-point lead, they lost to Pittsburgh 63-60. But in terms of who's hot, who's not for Miami, we see Wong. He's not hit a shot from the floor. He's 0 for 3, and all 3 shots have been from downtown. He's being held to 1 point, and you can attribute to that to being a main reason why Syracuse is up by 14 at the break. The clamp down defense by Syracuse has been something special, and will certainly be a storyline in the postgame and even in the second half, as we see Anthony Walker has really been the go-getter, scoring half of the Canes' points, 11 out of the 22 points that Miami has had in the first half. 4 for 7 from the floor for 11 points, 3 rebounds. We see Nasir Brooks, 4 points on 2 of 4 shooting. Harlan Beverly, he's being held scoreless, as well as Elijah Olanani. He has 2 points. And we're seeing Earl Timberlake coming off the bench for 4 points on 2 for 3 shooting. Now to the home team. Well, first, how does the assist-to-turnover ratio the assist-to-turnover ratio right now, a 5-9 assist-to-turnover ratio for Miami. So they're -4 in that category tonight. And in terms of fouls, 6 fouls compared to Syracuse's 6 fouls. So even in that statistical category as well. Now, for the Orange, the Orange are Joe Girard III has stolen the show. In the first half, he is 5 for 6, 3 for 4 from downtown, 15 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist for the sophomore. And also feeling it, starting to heat up, is Quincy Guerrier, 6 points, 3 for 5 shooting for 3 rebounds. And we've seen Jesse Edwards come off the bench, which Jesse Edwards coming off the bench for 4 points. He's hit both of his shots, the two-handed flush, midway through the first half. And then the really I will say physical basket later in the second half has been able to get it him 4 points. And in terms of rebounding, Syracuse is being out rebounded 15-13. We know that this is a very good rebounding team in Miami. They rank 4th in the ACC in that category. At 38.3 rebounds per game. So right now, Miami holds that edge at 15-13. But right now, it's all Syracuse, 36-22. Boeheim having 5 points. He's 2 for 5 from the floor. So if I'm Syracuse and I'm trying to build on this 14-point lead and extend it to 20, 30 points, and I'm Jim Boeheim, if I'm in the locker room right now, I'm saying, Girard, keep it up, trying to find those open opportunities from the perimeter. And if I'm talking to Guerrier and Griffin having 3 points, he's sort of struggling, 1 for 6 from the floor as well. And Guerrier, who's starting to heat up, he has 6 points, and Boeheim having 5. If I'm Boeheim, I'm saying, hey, the 3 ball is not falling for the 3 of you. You're a combined 2 for 6 2 for 7 from beyond the arc. So don't take those 3-point shots unless you know that you're going to make them. Those are just senseless shots and empty possessions. And if you're Dolezaj needs to stay out of foul trouble. Dolezaj has three personal fouls and has half of the team's fouls in terms of that. We know Girard has a foul, Boeheim has a foul, as well as Jesse Edwards. So if you're Boeheim, there's not much to be upset about in this game. But on that same token, look for Boeheim, Dolezaj especially, and Alan Griffin and Quincy Guerrier to have to start to heat up for the Orange in this game. Elsewhere in the ACC, we know the second game of the ACC is the 7-2 Pittsburgh Panthers. We've mentioned them routinely in this broadcast as they have battered the home team Syracuse this season, and also Duke. They're hosting the Duke Blue Devils. The Dukies open up as an early 4.5-point favorite from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tonight. However, I have Pittsburgh, and this is why we have the likes of Justin Champagne, 18.7 points per game. He's shooting nearly 50% from the floor, and he's also your leader in rebounds, 12.9 rebounds per game, compared to Matthew Hurt, who has 8.5 rebounds for Mike Krzyzewski's club. And also Matt Hurt is averaging, he's averaging 19.6 points per game. However, Pitt is a deeper offensive team than Duke is this season. And in terms of assists, Xavier Johnson tapping into that, 5.6 assists per game. So he's definitely a ball sharer. And Jordan Goldwire, the player to watch for Duke in terms of assists. Well, Duke is the Blue Devils coming off the stunner last Tuesday, 74-67 loss to the Virginia Tech Hokies in Blacksburg. The Panthers coming up off two straight victories over Syracuse by a total of 23 points, the latter being by 20. Now, looking at top 25 action from yesterday, we did see a little bit of a split in terms of top 25 action. Number 23, UConn. I did mention this in my top 25 video yesterday that the Huskies, what's not to love about the resurgence of UConn basketball. Whether you're a fan of UConn or not, this is giving me real Jim Calhoun era vibes, and that should be exciting. If you're Dan Hurley, you should like what you're seeing. However, free throws, like I mentioned last night, are going to be your kryptonite. This is another game that the Huskies lost due to free throws. They lose 74-70 to the St. John's Red Storm, and they also lost on free throws to the Creighton Blue Jays back on December 20th. And one of the big blockbuster game last night was in Waco, Texas, in the Lone Star State, as the second-ranked Baylor Bears dominated, and yes, it's only an 8-point victory, 77-69 for Scott Drew's team, but this was probably the most lopsided, victory, 8-point victory that I've seen. They beat number 9 Kansas to remain unbeaten at 13-0. The Bears will return to action Saturday as they visit Oklahoma State. Kansas has a big game coming up as they are on the road in Oklahoma as the Jayhawks fall to 4-3. But in terms of today, what's in store for today? The Buckeyes of Ohio State in a dogfight with Purdue. Matt Painter's club. We're about approaching the midway part of the second half. The Buckeyes with a 45-39 lead. And in Gainesville, SEC action, the Florida Gators, we know that Keontae Johnson, his health issues have dominated the headlines in Gainesville, and rightfully so. The health of him is the utmost importance. But right now, his team has the 38-27 lead over the 6th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. We talked up the Volunteers last night. I had them ranked 5th, just ahead of number 5, Texas. But at the half, it is 38-27 Gators over the Tennessee Volunteers. And in terms of Big Ten basketball, going back to the Big Ten, number 7, Michigan, a team that lost by 18 points to Minnesota. They didn't drop. They stayed at 7, and they're showing why they should be at 7. They're up big on the visiting Maryland Terrapins, 42-25, and going back to the SEC, sort of teetering between the SEC and Big Ten. Number 19 Missouri is feeling it at home. They're up 45-34 over the visiting South Carolina Gamecocks, a Gamecocks team that has been riddled with COVID-19 issues this season. And later tonight, we will see number 22 Illinois taking on Penn State as the Nittany Lions look for their first Big Ten win of the season against Brad Underwood's team. The Fighting Illini open up as an early 10-point favorite. And number 3, Villanova. They're back on the court for the first time since December 23rd as they take on the Seton Hall Pirates in Philly. The Wildcats open up as a 9-point favorite. However, that should be a challenging game for Nova and Jay Wright's club as the Wildcats come back from a 28-day hiatus. And my big game that I'm watching is number 19 is number 18 Alabama visiting LSU. This is two surprising teams in the SEC this season. The Crimson Tide, they've won 7 straight, averaging nearly 85 points per game in that 7-game stretch. They visit the LSU Tigers, and I feel like I'm talking football with Alabama and LSU basketball being this good, as both teams combined for a 21-5 overall record. The Crimson Tide open up as an early 1-point favorite from Baton Rouge. However, that should be exciting to see. I have Alabama over LSU. They should walk out of the Bayou with the victory. And Villanova Seton Hall, I'm going to go with Villanova. What's not to trust in Jay Wright's coaching? He's done it time and time again, and this should be a victory for Villanova. However, Seton Hall isn't going to go away quietly. Illinois will get their 10th victory of the season and sort of, I don't know, right the ship, if you will. If you're a Fighting Illini fan, you've sort of underperformed to your lofty preseason expectations. So you'll send Penn State to 0-5 in the Big Ten. Missouri, South Carolina, second half thoughts. I think the Tigers will maintain home court dominance and beat South Carolina. Michigan is going to beat Maryland. I say Tennessee rallies past Florida in the second half, while Ohio State loses to Purdue. And a final tidbit before we send you back out to the second half action from the Carrier Dome is the March Madness dates were released for the 2021 NCAA tournament. We know that the entirety of the tournament will be held in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas, just really sort of limiting travel is at the forefront for the selection committee of the NCAA this season, and that's both on the men's and women's side of things. As the first round game, the tournament will tip off with the first 4 on March 18th, and then the first round game will be March 19th and the 20th. Second round games March 21st through the 22nd, and games in Mackey Arena in West Lafayette, Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and Hinkle Fieldhouse, as well as Indiana Farmers Coliseum and Lucas Oil Stadium are all going to be arenas that will be host to games this season. The Sweet 16 being played March 27th through the 28th at Bankers Life Fieldhouse and Hinkle Fieldhouse, while the Elite Eight will be played in Lucas Oil Stadium from March 29th to the 30th. In terms of the Final Four, it will be played on April 3rd with the national championship in Indianapolis on April 5th. We have not seen a March Madness since in Indianapolis since 2015, back when Duke won it. But we are here at the start of the second half as the Syracuse Orange, the home team, have the 36-22 lead over the visiting Miami Hurricanes. And we saw a huge first half by Joe Girard III. 15 points on 3 for 4 shooting from downtown, has really elevated the offense for Syracuse, and breaking up clumsy passes for Miami has really been the go-to component by not only by Jesse Edwards but Kadari Richmond as well. He's really done it all, but Jesse Edwards really using his physical body against Walker to get the lay-in, and also seeing the two-handed flush by the Dutchman. But Miami, they are 0 for 11 from downtown, 9 made field goals, 10 turnovers, and 11 points off turnovers for the Orange tonight against Miami. But we are ready to go for the second half of Syracuse and Miami. 14 points. That ties his career high. I'm sure he will surpass that today as the Orange look to capitalize on a big man presence, as it's Adebayo will have the second half inbounding duties as he'll inbound to Beverly, and that will be the inbounding duties for Miami, but their first possession comes up empty. Gerard with the quick release as he gives it off to Griffin, and a silly pass by Griffin as he has had 3 of those passes. A frustrating night for Alan Griffin, the Illinois transfer. So a turnover is how the Orange set up their offense out of the break. Adebayo finds Wong. Wong being held just to 1 point as Dolezaj will drive the lane. Griffin, and it's the Dolezaj show, dropping a dime to Alan Griffin as the lead up to 16, the first basket of the second half. But yes, Wong being held to 0 for 3 shooting, just for 1 point, and that came from the charity stripe. And another turnover. Guerrier almost losing the ball, but back in the hands of Guerrier. Guerrier has numbers. He'll give it off to Boeheim. Boeheim for 3, and that will fall as Buddy Boeheim has his second 3 of the game, and the Orange are picking up right where they left off as the Canes find themselves down by 19, and we are just a minute 13 into the ball game as 18:47 remaining in this game. Boeheim trying to talk to Alan Griffin, but it is 41-22 off the 3-point shot from Buddy Boeheim. And we mentioned the poor offensive performances by the likes of Timberlake and Wong, especially Isaiah Wong. We've highlighted him so much in multiple broadcasts and as being such a prolific scorer, but like the likes of Griffin and Dolezaj for the Orange, Wong is having sort of an off night as well, and that happens like I mentioned before the break to the best of us. And in order for the Canes to get back into this game and erase this 19-point deficit, they're going to have to find other scorers aside from Anthony Walker. You're going to have to rely on Matt Cross. They're going to have to find the likes of Elijah Olenani and find Nasir Brooks and find Harlem Beverly. They're gonna have to do that. It's imperative that they do that in order to be a coherent offensive unit tonight. And winning in a Power 5 conference is not easy, especially when it's on the road. And even though the ACC is all sort of scattered brain, we're not seeing North Carolina and Duke ruling the likes of the ACC this season. We're seeing Virginia and Virginia Tech and Clemson calling the shots in the conference. It's still going to be very difficult to win in the ACC, especially on the road. It goes without saying that's a huge. I don't want to say deterrent, but I'm going to say deterrent. That will definitely shake up your consistency if you are Miami. So 41-22, Syracuse has come out of the halftime, and Miami has yet to score. And the Orange having a quick 5 points in less than 2 minutes. So it is something to say about whatever Coach Boeheim said to Buddy, as well as Dolezaj and Griffin as well. So 41-22, 18:47 from the Carrier Dome. The legendary Carrier Dome on the top of University Hill in Syracuse, New York. As we return to action, as it is the Canes inbounding, and that will be Cameron McGusty inbounding to Wong. But McGusty inside. He kicks it out to Adebayo. Adebayo doing the little shake and bake as he finds Wong. Wong trying to break the ankles of Girard. And inside they go. Stuffed at the rim. But the Canes keep it. 5 on the shot clock. Wong has to do something. He heaves one. And that won't fall. The shooting woes continue. Have yet to hit a 3. And Wong, the stressful and sort of unsettling night continues as Dolezaj, the cross-court pass, but it is off the hands of Adebayo, and it will stay with Syracuse as there is 16 left on the shot clock. So Girard will inbound as he gives it off to Guerrier. Guerrier finding Boeheim. Boeheim trying to find something inside. He elevates, but it's Guerrier with the response as he slams it home. The sort of light, like a kiss dunk from the sophomore from Montreal. It's McGusty finding Wong. Wong trying to do something as that shot won't fall. The fight for the shot, and it will stay. It will go back to Syracuse as Adebayo is no longer happy with that call by the refs. As we were seeing Cross come back into the game for Miami. Nyseer Brooks taking a seat. Isaiah Wong still staying in the ball game with just 1 point as Girard gives it to Dolezaj. Guerrier inside. Guerrier 1 versus 1 as Guerrier elevates over fellow number 1 Anthony Walker, and this lead is 23. As the Canes almost travel with it, as crazy passing by Miami, but their offense now settles as Cross gives it off to Wong. Wong for 3. That finally falls, and that may be what they needed as Isaiah Wong hits the first team 3 and his first 3 of the game. But Girard, the little mismatch, that won't fall as the quick release answer on the other end won't go for the Orange. As McGusty tries to take it inside, he finds Adebayo. Adebayo for 3. That won't fall. The block out to Guerrier. Guerrier gives it off to Girard. It's 16:30 remaining in the second half. Girard gives it off to Dolezaj. Dolezaj having a first half that was riddled by fouls. Now inside to Guerrier. Guerrier being guarded by Walker. Griffin for 3. Griffin. That won't fall as it's into the hands of Wong. Here comes Miami. Miami's got numbers. Wong will take it coast to coast, but that won't fall. But there's a foul on Syracuse as that will go against Buddy Boeheim, his second of the game, first on the team for the half. As the Orange, this 2-3 zone holds opponents just to 40% from 40% from the floor. That's second in the ACC as we see Griffin come off the court. Jesse Edwards, he is going to surpass his career high in minutes as Cross thought about the 3. Adebayo being guarded by Edwards. He'll kick it out to McGusty, but that's an air ball, and it will stay with the Canes as that is off the hands of Guerrier. Just surpassing 4 minutes gone in the second half. 45-25, Syracuse. Syracuse not Jim Boeheim not happy rather about the call as Guerrier is looking confused, but it is 45-25. The home team up on the visiting Miami Hurricanes as Quincy Guerrier is feeling it in the second half. And we've mentioned Quincy Guerrier has been a really a offensive machine this season. His production numbers in terms of really all categories has elevated. He's averaging 16.5 points per game. The sophomore from Montreal, 9.7 rebounds per game. He has had 6 games with 10 rebounds or more. It's just it doesn't get much better than that. And in terms of stats, Griffin, he's 7th in the ACC in scoring. That's 16.7 points per game. Unless he gets something going and clicking on the offensive end, that number is going to go down, and he's probably going to fall in that rank. Guerrier is 9th in scoring at 16.5 points per game. And Guerrier is also 2nd in terms of rebounding. He's almost averaging 10 rebounds per game at 9.7 rebounds per game. Griffin is 10th at 7.3 rebounds per game. Dolezaj is shooting nearly 57% from the field. That's 7th in the ACC. Guerrier, 56.9%. That's 8th. And they're 2nd in scoring. As a team, they're 79.2 points per game. So that's truly a nothing to sneeze at. They're really getting pretty much whatever they want. They have 9 early points in the second half. They put up 36, so they're on pace for 72. So just under their season average of 79.2. They're 3rd in terms of rebounding at 38.6 rebounds per game. However, this is where it sort of gets dicey. In terms of field goal percentage, they are just shooting a little bit north of 44% from the floor, and that's 10th in the ACC, and 31.6% from downtown. That is 12th in the ACC. However, in terms of free throws, they're 3rd in terms of free throw shooting at 78.4%. So some areas are lacking, but the other areas make up for it. If you're trying to look at it in terms of a glass half full sort of outlook, but the Orange getting it to go really on all cylinders as they are forcing turnovers. They force nearly 15 points per game. 15 turnovers per game rather against their opponents, and that leads to points off turnovers. They have more than 10 points off turnovers today against the Canes, but Guerrier 10 points and 6 rebounds on 5 for 7 shooting for the sophomore. So 15:57 remaining in the second half. SU with the 20-point lead as the Canes will inbound it with 14 on the shot clock as we see the Canes inbounding it, and that will go in with Wong. As it's McGusty giving it off to Wong. Wong for 3. That won't fall. That's short. It's Adebayo trying to do something, and it will go the other way as the Orange block him out. So here come the Orange. Girard dribbling it up the court. He gives it off to Dolezaj. Dolezaj has had quite the quiet night as Boeheim inside. We know what Girard can do from 3-point range. He gives it off to Dolezaj as there's 13 on the shot clock. Girard dribbling at the logo. Girard inside, the rocket pass to Guerrier as that will go off the glass. Guerrier now with 12 points as he's feeling it. And Girard says, I'll drop dimes. Wong trying to find someone. He was looking for Cross, but he finds McGusty, and McGusty gets a little floater to fall as that is pulls the lead back within 20, 47-27. Gary has made the last 7 out of his 8 shots as Boeheim takes the pass within traffic from Girard. He passes it to Girard. Girard, the uneasy 3, but he says, I'll do it, as Joe Girard has his 3rd 3 of the game as the Orange are now shooting 54% from downtown, 7 for 15 on the night as the Canes can't respond. Edwards with the rebound as the Orange have eclipsed the halfway point, the half century mark in terms of points. And we are Girard going inside. He dishes it to Edwards, but Edwards will draw the foul and will go to the charity stripe as he was trying to have the two-handed slam by the big man. But Girard dropping it into Edwards, but Edwards is saying, come on, man. I'm just trying to make a dunk here. But Edwards, 4.6 rebounds for the sophomore. He'll add to that as he rattles that one home. 5 points now. Looking to make the lead 25. Edwards for a second free throw. That will fall, and Jesse Edwards, 6.6 rebounds. A career-high 16 minutes for the Dutchman. 52-27 Syracuse. The risky pass by McGusty. McGusty with the double team from Girard and Boeheim. Wong trying to find someone. He finds his teammate. Cross thought about the three, but Wong will now control it. Being double teamed once again by Girard and Boeheim. The little shake and bake is McGusty, and that will go. As Cameron McGusty has been a player that has been getting baskets to fall. Boeheim to Dolajai to Girard. Girard for three again. That will hit the front iron as Cross collects the rebound. Here comes the Canes. And that's an offensive foul. Girard taking the hard hits by the Canes, as that was Earl Timberlake with the charge, and the shoulder to the midsection of Girard. Girard's okay, luckily, as we are at 13 and a half minutes, but 14 turnovers for Miami compared to the Orange's 6. Guerrier gives it off to Boeheim, who was being guarded heavily by McGusty. Boeheim taking it inside. The basket through traffic will fall off the glass for Boeheim. The lead back to 25, 54-29. As Syracuse is in the 2-3 zone, and Jesse Edwards swats it away, but he will be called for his second foul, and that is the second on Syracuse in the half. But Jesse Edwards has been able to do pretty much everything for the Orange tonight. 6.6 rebounds so far tonight, and 16 minutes, which is a career high for Edwards. But it is McGusty at the line, shooting free throws. The first one will fall. Both will fall rather, as they were shooting free throws from outside the break. Dolajai with the inbound to his teammate Girard. Syracuse with a 54-31 lead. Girard dishes it into Guerrier. Guerrier trying to find someone. He finds Boeheim. Boeheim being guarded heavily by Adebayo. Boeheim finds Girard. Girard will take it inside through heavy traffic off the glass, and that will go as Girard. He is an offensive machine tonight, as Joe Girard makes the lead back at 26. Wong with the skip pass to Cross. Cross can't get the three to fall. Boeheim blocking out as he has the rebound. Boeheim thinking about some high pressure offense. He will hit it, and Boeheim makes the lead 27, 58, 31, as it is all Syracuse thus far. They have scored 22 points in the second half, compared to Miami's 9 points, and count it, and the foul. As Boeheim now in double figures with 12. We see Adebayo going back to the bench. So Boeheim trying to connect on the old-fashioned three-point play. He's at the charity stripe, as that one hits all cylinders of the rim and will go in for the score. 59-31, Syracuse now with a 28-point lead. Here is McGusty inside. He gives it off to Cross. Cross giving it off to Wong. Wong for three. No, that won't fall. Edwards towering over, but it will stay with Miami. And Jesse Edwards hitting the deck. And as we are 12 minutes remaining in this second half, Syracuse, the offense, we're seeing quite the contrast from tonight's game versus Saturday's game against Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh was the one doing the bullying to Syracuse, and now it is Syracuse doing the bullying to Miami. And the Canes opened only up as a 5.5 point deficit. Excuse me, a 5.5 point underdog. And now they're finding themselves in a 28 point deficit. So if you're Jim Larinaga, you're saying, hey, how can we generate some offense? And the key to that is not having, this is going to sound crazy, but not having Isaiah Wong take senseless 3-point shots. It's just not falling for Wong. He's only a sophomore, but you've played a year in college and you've played multiple years at the amateur level in high school. So you need to realize when you're this late into your career that if a 3-point shot isn't falling, let me find some other points on the floor. Play the 2 spot, play the 4 spots, and let me find other spots on the floor to get wide open looks. And I know it's not really that easy to get wide open looks against this smothering 2-3 zone. However, you're gonna have to do something. You're not in my critically acclaimed danger zone, as I like to call it, which is 5 minutes or less. So we're still a little ways out from the danger zone. And the danger zone for any of the new viewers here, as we have about 105 viewers on the various streaming platforms. For any new viewers, the danger zone for me is 5 minutes remaining in the second half, and that's a huge no. If you're, especially if you're down by 28. If you're down by 28 points and you're finding yourself in the danger zone, you're probably gonna have to pull the plug, take a rain check on this game, and say, hey, we'll get him next time. However, this is not a we're not in the danger zone yet. So Miami still has plenty of chances to crawl back from this. However, they're going to have to stop the potent offense from Syracuse, as we see Girard getting baskets where Guerrier, Jesse Edwards is feeling it, which I just love. I love when a not really mainstream player from a Power 5 team, or really any team for that matter, has a game that is stellar, and that's what we're seeing from Jesse Edwards. 6.6 rebounds for the sophomore. But right now, 12 minutes remaining in the second half, as we're back from the Carrier Dome. We go 59-31 Syracuse over Miami, as the Orange will try and extend their lead, as a basket will get them to a 30-point lead, as it is a 57-20 run after it was 11-2. 22 points off turnovers compared to Miami's 2 for Syracuse. Wong will give it off to Timberlake, and the crazy pass, as there's 8 on the shot clock. Dolezaj trying to save that one, but he can't. So Guerrier will guard the inbounds, as Boeheim thought about stealing it. Wong, the sharp pass to cross, as this is a Miami 3 that won't fall, and that's off the hands. They're saying that is off the hands of McGusty, as it will be going back to Syracuse with 11:37 to play. So here's Girard with into Boeheim. Boeheim to Guerrier. Guerrier being guarded heavily, but it's stolen away. And hitting the deck is Girard. Boeheim for 3. No, that won't fall. Wong with numbers. Here come the Canes. Wong, coast to coast. That will go, as Isaiah Wong gets his second field goal of the game, and it's a 26-point deficit now. A little skip pass to Boeheim, back in the hands of Dolezaj. And Boeheim from the charity stripe. That will fall. Kiss it, as Boeheim now starting to heat up even more. 61-33. As McGusty trying to find someone. The double team. He'll try for three, and that will go. A much-needed three by Miami. Back-to-back baskets for the Canes, and it's as they cut the lead to 25. How will the Orange respond? Girard driving the lane. Girard with the little kiss, but Dolezaj with the rebound. Dolezaj with the tough basket. No foul. They're saying it's his hand was on the ball. Isaiah Wong going coast to coast. That won't fall. But there is a foul as Isaiah Wong draws the foul on the Orange as the little shake and bake coast to coast. But that is 3 team fouls on Syracuse thus far, putting Wong at the line. He connects on the first one. And if you're a Syracuse fan, one thing for me that I'm seeing is as Wong hits both, as the Canes are on a little bit of a scoring run here, 61-38. If you're a Syracuse fan, you're going to want to see more offensive production from Dolezaj. Don't just drive the lane. Be comfortable with taking shots on any side of on any area of the floor. That is something that he has not been able to master in his 4 years at Syracuse. As we see Boeheim dribbling through traffic, he gives it off to Guerrier. Girard for three, that won't fall. And the Canes collect the rebounds as we have surpassed the 10-minute mark of the second half. Wong going inside as he will draw the foul and the score, as the Canes are now starting to get some offensive rhythm flowing in them, as Wong will head back to the charity stripe as the foul will go against, if that's Dolezaj, that's his fourth. As it's 61-40. Syracuse over Miami. As the Syracuse offense somewhat going stagnant a little bit with in the last couple of minutes, but they still hold the 21 point 61-40 lead over Miami. But it is going back to Dolezaj and seeing a player that has developed from somewhat of a scrawny and nimble player to a player that's one of a kind now, being able to take hits. We saw what he did 2 seasons ago against Zion Williamson, taking that charge. We've seen him lose a tooth against Georgetown. We've seen plenty of sort of scuffles with the Hoyas, but the development and the size development of Dolezaj has been fun to watch, as well as there's 9:51 left in the second half, and Wong at the free throw line. So Wong trying to finish the old-fashioned three-point play, and that won't fall. Dolezaj ripping the rebound as he gives it off to Richmond. Richmond coming in for the game, as Richmond fast to get up court. Richmond dishes it out to Girard. Girard thought about going inside, but too much heavy traffic. Richmond. And here's Dolezaj. Dolezaj inside to Guerrier. 8 on the shot clock, as it will stay with Syracuse. 6 on the shot clock. And that previous foul not going against Merrick Dolezaj, it went against Jesse Edwards. That was his 4th. So 6 on the shot clock. Richmond inbounding to Guerrier. They got to do something quick. Girard. The quick release 3. Under pressure. Joe Girard III says book it, as he steals one of my famous catchphrases, as Girard, a season high 23 points off the 3-point shot, and a foul now being called. Girard not happy as the sophomore draws the foul. And you give up a foul after such an under pressure basket. So now 5 team fouls on the Orange. So the Miami offense resets. Here comes Wong. Wong gives it off to Timberlake, and here's Wong for 3. That will go as the Orange and Hurricanes trade a pair of threes back to a 21-point game. Boeheim catching the cross-court pass. Boeheim waiting for numbers to give back. He finds Richmond back in the hands of Girard. 19 to shoot. Richmond dishing it inside to Boeheim. Boeheim elevating. That will fall. Buddy Boeheim from the weak elbow. As Boeheim is tying his shoe. Having the little Tyler Lydon move from a few seasons past. As cross almost being left wide open. But it is an empty possession for the Canes. Here comes Syracuse. As Girard dishes it out to Boeheim. Boeheim for 3. That won't fall. Dolezaj with the rebound. Boeheim for 3 again. Book it. Buddy Boeheim says yes on the second chance 3, and he is feeling it as the Orange are making it rain from downtown. Isaiah Wong says for 3, and that will fall, and the three-point factory is in full swing as the Orange and Canes are feeling it from downtown. Isaiah Wong finally starting to heat up, but is it too late for the Canes as a second chance opportunity for Buddy Boeheim finds the bottom of the net? The Orange lead 23, 69 to 46. And the Orange are really feeling it. As I just mentioned, the three-point factory is up and running for both teams, really, but especially Syracuse as the Orange really clicking on all cylinders in terms of the offensive end as they are getting really just any shot that they want to fall as we're approaching 7 minutes to play in the second half as we are approaching the elusive danger zone Miami as Syracuse is 8 for 19 from downtown, 42% from in that category, shooting 54% from the floor. So a stellar shooting performance for the Orange tonight. Well, Miami, we mentioned Syracuse was 3 for 22 from downtown against Pittsburgh over the weekend. Well, Miami is that exact stat against Syracuse tonight as they're 3 for 22 for 13.6% and also shooting just 16 for 44 from the floor. So you're not going to win many games, especially when your assist to turnover ratio is 7 to 14. So that has grown. It was 4 to 9. So it was a -5 differential at the half, but now it is a -7 differential. It is now 7 to 14 in terms of turnovers, assist to turnover ratio, and in comparison to the Orange, the Orange have just 6 turnovers. The turnover department is not working all too well, which or if you're trying to win games, that's what you want. But right now Syracuse is really attacking on all sides of both sides of the floor. They're up 69-46 as this seems like a comfortable way to just coast in to a big game for the Orange this upcoming weekend as they host number 16 Virginia Tech. But a lot to love if you're a Syracuse fan tonight from the Carrier Dome as the Orange are clicking, and Jim Boeheim must be happy. A lot better performance than their previous 2 games. A game against the loss to UNC and then also the loss to the Pitt Panthers. But we are back from the Carrier Dome as the Orange are getting Girard, Dolezaj, Guerrier, Edwards, and Boeheim in on the fun as they have multiple players in double figures. So look for this to be really one of the storylines from this game. As the Isaiah Wong having only one first half point. He is now 15 as he is shooting 5 for 10 from the floor in the second half as Dolezaj gets inside to Richmond. Richmond has to get it across half court. He does. He finds Boeheim. Boeheim with the flush, and the Canes adds Adebayo with the nasty and mean block, but it is a foul on or I saw just all ball on that block. But the refs will say otherwise, so Guerrier will go to the charity stripe as he hits the first. As we see Cameron McGusty going to the bench for Larrañaga's team, and Alan Griffin seeing very limited minutes in the second half as Guerrier sinks both. Griffin not having a good game whatsoever, only making one made field goal, which was a 3 early in the first half. So Wong has heated up. He has 16. He from 3. No, that will hit the front iron into the hands of Dolezaj. Dolezaj using his space and physicality to grab the rebound. Boeheim thought about the 3. He'll find Richmond as Kadari Richmond taking his foot off the gas. Richmond going inside. Richmond off to Guerrier, and the dime by Richmond will lead to the two-handed flush by Quincy Guerrier, and you love that team chemistry and team communication that leads to the Guerrier dunk. Adebayo thought about the 3. That won't go. And inside, and it's a two-handed slam by Miami as the Canes are getting it to go, as that was Nasir Brooks with the dunk. Passing 6.5 minutes to play. Guerrier almost has his pocket picked. He finds Dolezaj with the no-look pass. Boeheim, and it's stolen away and almost lost. Anthony Walker. The Canes have numbers. Adebayo finding his fellow teammate, but that's swatted away. But there is a foul on the Orange, and Jim Boeheim can't believe it. As if that's Dolezaj, that's his 4th. As Boeheim is saying, pump the brakes, Dolezaj. We still have 6:11 to play in this ball game. Dolezaj with 4 fouls as the first free throw won't fall for the Canes, as it is Harlan Beverly at the line, the sophomore from Detroit. He sinks the second one, splits it at the charity stripe, a 24-point advantage for Syracuse still, 73-49 with 6:11 to play, as Dolezaj passes it to Boeheim to Girard. Some crazy passing going on if you're Syracuse, as we under 6 to play. From the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York, the Salt City. Girard dribbling through heavy traffic. He finds Boeheim. Boeheim with 7 to shoot. Girard will take it inside. Girard with a little shake and bake Euro step. That won't fall. And here come the Canes. Isaiah Wong, the offensive shot caller, as he has his pocket pick, but he recovers. He gives it into Beverly. Beverly will get the tough basket to fall. Boeheim, the football pass, collecting it near the paint, as the Orange will now milk some clock. Richmond almost having it stolen by Walker. Here comes Richmond. Richmond passing it off to Guerrier. Guerrier climbing the invisible ladder to slam it home, as the Orange now with 75 points. It's a career-high 8 assists for Kadari Richmond, the freshman from Brooklyn. Wong controlling the point as he is at the three-point line. No foul, as Isaiah Wong was looking for the call. The refs won't give it to him. Richmond trying to go inside coast to coast. The reversal lay-in for Kadari Richmond, and the Orange are just clicking late in this ball game. As the Orange open up to a 26-point, 77-51 lead over the visiting Hurricanes as we approach nearly 4.5 minutes to play from the Carrier Dome, as the Orange are really getting it to go on not only on the 3-point shot, but as well as the as well as inside the arc as well. So 77-51, a short timeout. Boeheim talking to his guys, saying, "Hey, we all we got to do is close out this game, and we got this." Boeheim in his 45th season with the program as the head coach. He has been with the actual program since the 60s when he was a player for the Orange, winning the 2003 national championship. Was on pause early in the season for a 10 days, and then was on pause for a longer period of time after their game against Buffalo on December 19th, which really seemed to upset the offensive chemistry of this team. But 77-51 as Syracuse coming out of the timeout after the little shake and bake Euro step coast to coast shot, whatever you'd like to call it, by Kadari Richmond. So resuming play as it is Beverly controlling the point as he gives it off to Adebayo. Cross is wide open. Matt Cross wide open on the right wing as they are not finding him. Adebayo inside. That will fall. An easy basket for the Canes. Richmond with the risky pass as Gerard almost loses the handle. Here comes the Orange as the Orange reset as Richmond gives it off to Gerard. Back into the hands of Richmond. Less than 4 minutes to play. Late in the shot clock. 8 on the shot clock. Boeheim for 3. That won't fall. Guerrier with the rebound. Gerard will think about the 3. Being guarded by Cross. No. Now it's into the Canes' hands as Cross has it stolen away. Gerard, his physicality. As that is some determination by Joe Girard III to keep the possession alive and get another possession for the Orange, as Richmond being guarded heavily by Cross. Freshman versus freshman. Richmond with a risky pass to Girard. 10 on the shot clock. We're late in the shot clock once again. Girard dribbling from the Carrier logo. Girard kicks it out to Boeheim. Boeheim with 3 on the shot clock. Book it late in the shot clock as Buddy Boeheim gives the Orange the 80-point mark on a 3 under pressure with 3 minutes to play, and Boeheim's feeling it. But here comes the Canes calling up the point, and it's stolen away. Here comes Richmond. Richmond almost having it stolen away as well, but they collect. And Girard really just dribbling it out, as this is going to be a victory for Syracuse and another troubling loss for Miami to head back to Florida with. Girard hitting the deck, trying to save the ball. The possession arrow jump ball favors Miami as Girard just seems so kind of tired as Dolezaj and Girard share a laugh. But we are now seeing Robert Braswell the fourth, a player that has his fair share of 3-point success against Pittsburgh in the first meeting, coming in as well as Jesse Edwards seeing some quality action and it's the difference between big men that we know that there's prominent big men in Syracuse history. Pearl Washington, Dajuan Coleman, Pascal Chukwu, Scoop Jardine rather, Barama Sidibe as well, and now Jesse Edwards is really sort of taking on the role of a big man, and it's refreshing to see the development of Jesse Edwards as well. As Edwards is showing that he can, at least for the time being, now that Sidibe is there's no timetable for when Sidibe will be back in the starting lineup, and it's safe to say that Sidibe is not going to be at the level of production that he was coming into the season, because he was on track to be to really be an offensive machine, and as well as a player, a not so selfish player on the glass, and grabbing rebounds for the Orange. So now that Jesse Edwards is getting those quality minutes, I agree with Coach Boeheim on this, getting experience for the sophomore to really elevate his game. So Syracuse with the 80-53 lead over Miami. This has just been an offensive gauntlet for the Orange today, and it should give them some confidence going into their game against Virginia Tech. But the Orange looking good, as we can see, the Orange honoring the late Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights icon. Multiple teams doing that across the country, showing signs of unity in times of civil injustices, but it is all Joe Girard III and Buddy Boeheim. Both players are feeling it from downtown. Guerrier going inside, along with Jesse Edwards and Kadari Richmond. But Girard and Boeheim, we know that they have been really the two, a real big duo. Girard 23 points, 5 for 9 from downtown, 4 assists. So he's known for being a relatively high assist production maker, as the Canes just trying to get something to go here, as the reversal won't fall. Braswell with the rebound. He passes it off to Richmond, as Richmond will just now milk some clock as we approach 2 minutes to play in the second half. So Richmond being guarded. Richmond driving the lane. He passes it out to Braswell. Braswell for 3. That won't fall. That's off the mark, and it will stay with Syracuse, as they are saying it is off the hands of number 22 from Miami, and that will be Gok. So Richmond to inbound. He finds Edwards. Edwards trying to go into home, but he will go to the free throw line. They wave off the baskets. He draws the foul on Miami. So 1:45 to play in this ball game, as we see Dolajai take a seat, as well as Guerrier, as Edwards cashes in from the charity stripe. He now has 7 points. As that is a miss on the second shot, but upcoming schedule for Syracuse, we know they host number 16 Virginia Tech this Saturday. Then they visit number 13 Virginia on Monday. But Louisville and Clemson are also. Louisville is coming to town on February 3rd. Clemson, that'll be a sign, a huge victory, a huge must-win for the Orange, as Richmond, the poke pass away, as Kadari Richmond will see his last minutes of the game, as he makes the lead 30 points, as Syracuse will take a timeout to put in some subs, as the starters will get a rest, as Joe Girard III, 23 points, as we have just about 86 left. As Richmond finishing with 7 points, 8 assists. The little kiss from the charity stripe will fall, as the Orange substitutes come in. 1 minute to play from the Carrier Dome, 83-55. And it's always exciting to see a bench player make a shot, as we see Frank Anselm come in and almost stolen away. 10 on the shot clock. Edwards trying to take it home. Edwards off the glass. That won't fall. And off the head of number 12 in white. As that won't fall, and there's about 2 seconds left on the shot clock. 83-55. So if you're Syracuse, you will now look into the game against Virginia Tech as Edwards has it poked away. But then here comes the Canes as there's about 15 left on the clock. The little alley-oop by Cross will fall to make it 83-57. Syracuse will advance to 8-4 on the season, 2-3 in ACC play, while Miami falls to 6-7 overall and 2-6 in the ACC. Up next for the Canes, they will host Notre Dame on Sunday afternoon in Coral Gables, while the Orange will be back in action in a pivotal game as they host number 16 Virginia Tech from the Carrier Dome on Saturday. For Courtside with Sam Barber, I'm Sam Barber, and until Saturday, so long and have a good day.